Rob and I are going to start off, and we're going to make coffee ice cream with chocolate chip cookies in it. I thought that sounded like a great combination that one of my customers was telling me about. Oh, and by the way, send in recommendations, and we'll make it. We're going to make a blackberry wine sorbet today, and the customer who suggested it even brought the blackberry wine. So looking forward to trying that. So Jeff left. I guess we're going to do it ourselves.
He's pretty quick.
All right. If I can bother you, we're going to need 3.5. We're using the CB350. We'll use 3.5 quarts of mix.
All right. Where do we write out of here, right?
You can use one of those. And here's the mix. I'm going to go get the Hershey syrup.
All right.
And while I'm going to get that, why don't you tell them what, we call it mix. Mix is a terrible term. It sounds like it's a powder. When you think of mix, it sounds like, something like this, a powder that has traveled the world. But it's not. It's fresh dairy product. Oh, and see, even the dairyman can spill.
don't worry, we have pour baskets in case you need them.
Now you don't feel bad about when you do it because even the pro does it. But tell them what's in that mix. A better term is blend.
So, our company was founded in 1948 by our venerable grandpa, Anthony Corinne, and he believed that, I think that ice cream mix shouldn't be just available to some of the largest restaurants in the world. It should also be available to mom and pop shops, as we call you, yourselves. And I think our main ingredient, of course, is milk. We use real dairy. Everything is sourced from local dairy farming families in Florida. We think that's extremely important because I think it really stresses the freshness of our product. We typically it's from the cow into our mix in under 24 hours. We actually source raw milk because we want it the closest thing to the cow. We pasteurize, of course, all of our mixes. We're monitored by the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, as well as the FDA. We heat above and beyond the minimum 175 degrees for 25 seconds that the state requires. The other pieces of the puzzle, as far as the composition of the mix, are we also use skim condensed milk, and we use cream as well. We really try to. Pardon me. We're looking for the highest butterfat content in cream, right? Because that's how cream is priced, one. And two, we don't have to use as much, the higher fat percentage we have of cream. We also use powders as well. But really it's those three, the cream, the milk, and the skim condensed. And then we also use sucrose, and we use corn syrup. Not to be confused with high fructose corn syrup.
The skim milk is what I call the secret ingredient. When we're talking about dairy product, there's a technical term you don't have to remember called milk solids, not fat. What it means is that's the good stuff. That's what makes it ice cream. You can't use just pure cream. The fat content would be so high, it would taste greasy on your mouth. It would sit like lead in your stomach. So that's why they put in whole milk and also this skim milk powder. Skim milk, if you ever wanted to take in dairy without all the fat, skim milk is literally heavy cream with all the fat removed. You take all the fat out of heavy cream, and you're left with what I call the good stuff, which is the skim milk. It's got the milk solids, non-fat. Milk solids, non-fat. So it's got the milk solids, but the fat has been removed. So we can increase the quality of the mix by removing the fat. It seems just the opposite. Oh, why don't we go up to a higher fat? No, you can get too high. So that's why they add skim milk powder to ingredient. You'll never see it in a home recipe, and that's why your ice cream will always be better than something that's a home recipe. I'm going to sanitize the machine. I want to kill off any bacteria that might be in here from the last time I ran, and the last time could have been last night. It could have been 5 weeks ago. same idea, you're going to sanitize the machine. Once I sanitize the machine and kill off any bacteria, I don't have to do it again if I continually make ice cream. If I make ice cream all the way till 12 o'clock and I don't put my hands in the machine, we don't have to re-sanitize. If I take an hour break for lunch, then yes, I'm probably going to re-sanitize. So let me just pour this in. Always make sure the gate's closed, because the last time I made ice cream, I left it open so that I could get the ice cream out. And now I go to pour the water in, it's going to go all over the floor and everywhere else. So close the gate, and you'll do this. I guarantee you, sometime you're going to be pouring product in, and you'll see it leaking all over, and you'll go, oh, that expletive deleted Emery Thompson leaks. Well, you left the gate open. And I use a product called Sterashine. There are others on the market, but this is an excellent product. It's all about simplicity. The health department, let me turn this on, get it sanitizing. The time you sanitize, the second that sterile water hits the parts, it's sanitary. But you've got health departments who say, we want it done for 30 seconds, we want it done for 2 minutes. It really doesn't matter, except you've got to do what your health department says. Whatever they require is what you're going to do. The Sterashine is recognized by everybody. All these products are chlorine-based. If you were in a situation at 11 o'clock at night and you had to make ice cream, you could actually use a cap, not a cup, a cap full of Clorox bleach to a gallon of water to do the same job. But your health department's going to come in and go, oh, look, they're using Clorox in their machine. How horrible. Well, I used to be, a snide New Yorker. I'm still a snide New Yorker, but I used to challenge them and say, well, what do you think you put in your swimming pool, pal? And, that didn't go over well. So now I keep a jar of this around because the health inspectors recognize it, and they know it's a good product. They know you're following good practices. And this is available anywhere. You can find it on the internet. So I've let that run. The instructions say if you read and follow the instructions, you don't need to rinse afterwards. Now I'm going to turn this off. Oh, it's a good point. I almost opened it. When we make ice cream in a few minutes, when it's finished, we'll turn off the refrigeration as it is now. We'll leave it spinning to help push the product out. It's a nice thick product. We want to push it out fast. However, water is so loose that if I open this gate, it's going to be like going to SeaWorld and Shamu the whale. The first row is going to get soaked. So turn that off and then drain that out. The barrel has a slight pitch to it when we manufacture it, so all the water will come out. And you do not need to rinse afterwards. In fact, many health departments will say don't rinse afterwards. I rinse afterwards. I just want to make sure that there's no extra.
I rinse before.
And you rinse before, which is beyond me.
Beyond me too.
So let me get some more water here, and I'll just do a quick rinse on that. So we're going to use 3.5 quarts of the ice cream blend, 3 to 4 ounces of Taster's Choice. If you look, this is the green Taster's Choice. Let's do 3 ounces. It's
Always err on the side of more.
All right, 4 is going to be strong, but
strong is good.
I'm using decaf. When we first moved down here from the Bronx and doing classes like this, I made some coffee ice cream, and my sister had also just moved down here, she and her husband, and I made coffee ice cream, regular Taster's Choice coffee, and I said, whatever you do, don't eat this ice cream after 6 o'clock at night. And she didn't heed my warning, and so she sat down, ate a whole pint of it, and I didn't see her for a couple of days. She comes into the factory, her eyes are all droopy, and she looks like hell. And I said, what happened to you? And she said, I ate a pint of your coffee ice cream at 11 o'clock at night. I've been up for 2 days. So that's when I decided I got to switch to decaf. And you can't tell the taste difference. It's cheap coffee to begin with. I'm a coffee snob. It's the only thing I spend money on. I get my own beans imported, I roast them, I grind them. But when it comes to making coffee ice cream, I haven't found anything better than the Taster's Choice freeze-dried crystals, or any freeze-dried crystals. They could be Folgers. There's an Italian brand that escapes me, but the freeze-dried crystals will dissolve in the ice cream mix quite nicely. Again, turn it off because I'm just draining out the water. Once in a while, they'll dissolve about 99%, which means once in a while you're going to get a little crunch if you're eating coffee ice cream, and that's a freeze-dried crystal. It won't hurt you, but it does tell you that it's homemade.
Oh, no, you can eyeball that.
Okay.
You can eyeball that.
So now I'm ready for the mix. That's it
Open
there.
that up.
Yeah. Show him how easy. He just flipped the top.
What?
He just flipped the top.
No, it's easier if you undo that.
No, I do squirts.
And you're going to let them know that?
Hey, it's a lot better than
Family
being,
hour.
You know, at your age, at least I'm not a government leaker. Oh.
You're a private leaker.
Can I ask a question about this?
Please do.
Does that only come in those unwieldy bladders, and if
Yes.
so, why?
No, they also come in from some companies in gallon containers, but what fun would that be? I mean, the bladders are just
Is there
really
a
entertaining.
bladder other than the milk machines I see at Waffle House?
The history behind the bladder is H.P. Hood up in New England, which is one of the largest dairies in the country. A salesman came to him. They used to deliver in the 10-gallon pails. I mean, you didn't mess with an ice cream maker. They're lifting, 10-gallon pails of mix-up like this. And the salesman comes years ago, and he says to the H.P. Hood, I have this new thing that you can put the mix in. It's called a bladder. And the first thing they say is, it's going to break. And so he said, nope. They go to the third floor of the H.P. Hood building. All the executives are downstairs. He's upstairs, and he's going to prove it, and he drops that bag. And they're watching it sail down at 125 feet per second, and it broke all over them. And they said, great idea, we'll take it. He just had to improve the bag. But that's how these bags began. And they are handy, but they are unwieldy. It's like a miniature waterbed.
And
So-
in 8 years, we all use those. 8 years, 40,000 gallons of ice cream I've made, I busted one bag. It took 4 hours to clean it up. No,
Yeah,
I'm
I
serious.
believe it.
It's ridiculous. So then you learn to be careful.
Because it's slippery.
They are extremely durable, though, I'll say. We source our bags from Liquibox, and they have the best bags in the country.
How high?
How high have we dropped it? 2 stories.
And why
I got
would
a
you?
lot of money in my pocket, says that ain't going to happen.
Well, why would you want to?
We don't like wasting ice cream mix.
All right.
But we also have a pour basket. Just one more thing. We have a pour basket that we give all of our new clientele if you want it.
What is it?
It's
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, it's just a wired basket where you put the nozzle right there, and you just have 2 grips and you pour it. It's very
I
simple.
want one.
I want one.
Deal.
I want one.
Next time I'm here, I'll have 2
Thank you. Good.
on it.
They're great. Jeff, I used to have one in New
Oh,
York.
I want one of
They're
those.
terrific. You drop the bag in, put the nozzle in a little spout, and then you just lift it like that.
Why didn't we think of that?
Because
That
they
was
did.
my point of, I'm one for efficiency and ease. That doesn't seem
I
very
want
easy.
one.
And here you are, the principal of the company, and you spilled it.
I don't know about the principle of the company, but I appreciate it.
He'll accept the compliment. All right, we've got the mix in here.
Yeah,
We're going to
pretty
turn
amazing.
on. I'm going to run it at homemade.
I want
I'm
one.
going to run it
I
at
gotcha.
super premium.
And
So
all
I'm
we
going
need
to
is
touch
one.
super premium. That's going to take it to the speed that I want. It's going to turn on the refrigeration. And now she's freezing. So now we're going to add the ingredients. Rob, you want to add the coffee crystals? Oh no, all over the country. All different companies. Yeah, we're going to talk about that more extensively during the insightful questions and dubious answers section. There are dairies all over the country because it is regional. The further away, if you're in New York, I'd love to have dairy mix, but it's going to be too expensive to ship up to New York because of the weight. But no, it comes out of different dairies around the
Every
country.
state.
A farmer with 40 cows is often a dairy. It's just dairy mix is the best that I've found. There are a number in Florida, and this is the one that I use. And by the way, when I recommend something, and the same with Jeff, we don't take a dime from anybody. It's just not the way we operate.
We'd like to.
We'd like to, but we don't. We recommend things because it's what we found to be the best. And as Rush Limbaugh said, the whole purpose of the radio program is to make the host look good. Well, we like to look good by telling you what we have found to be great stuff. Now I'm going to add the cookies, and I'm going to add half of them into the machine. I came up with a term years ago that I called fruit flavor and fruit identity. So for this purpose, we'll call it cookie flavor and cookie identity. And what it is you can't do this with any other machine on the market. I'm putting whole cookies, right into the machine and just letting them eat it up. It's starting to break them up. I don't have to do that. I'm just going to feed them right into the machine. And so for every particle of dairy, there is going to be a particle of cookie. So you're going to get a very intense flavor. My father put Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry into business. My grandfather put Bluebell, Hershey's, Breyers. All these companies started with batch freezers, and then because of the size, 300,000 gallons a year, had to graduate up to what's called a continuous freezer, a long, narrow tube that is about $500,000, and a machine about this size called a fruit feeder that's $40,000. And so when Haagen-Dazs makes ice cream, they are making vanilla ice cream and they're injecting strawberries into it as it comes out, or cookies, or any other flavor. So the best you can hope for is vanilla ice cream with added strawberries. It looks nice, but that's what it is. But with our batch freezer, and we're the only one on the market that can do this, for every particle of dairy, there's going to be a particle of flavor right next to it. Cookies, or what? Yes? No, it can be as tough as you want. I put whole walnuts into the machine all the time. Now, there's a little tip. Whole walnuts are very expensive. So why buy a 5-pound bag of whole walnuts at a very high price to put into a machine that's going to break them into quarters, when you can buy walnut pieces for a much lower price and they won't break down any further. So you buy the cheaper walnut pieces. But it doesn't matter. I've taken whole bananas, whole cantaloupe, everything, and just stuffed it right in the machine. Because my beaters, my dashers are so strong that, they're so incredibly strong that you can get away with, putting everything right in there. You can pass that one around. The 2 extra bars on it are just to hold it together. And if someone takes it apart, it's going to come flying. Yes?
I also put 3.5 quarts of liquid in that. Is that always the ratio for that machine?
I'm looking for a total, on average, of about 4 quarts of product into the machine. And I'm going to get back really anything I want. We say that it's a 6-quart machine. It's actually larger, but I advertise it as 6 quarts finished. I can control the amount of air in it with my infinite overrun control, something I invented 13 years ago, where all I'm doing is just adjusting the speed of the motor. But you can't do that. I mean, if this was our dining room and you had a rheostat, a dimmer on the wall, when you dim these lights down, all you're doing is taking power away from that 60-watt bulb. That 60-watt bulb dimmed down is now 25 watts. It doesn't have the power that it originally started with. If I take a 3-horsepower motor here and dim it down to a 1/4 horse, because I want to go slower, it will turn slower, but like dimming, but it won't have the power to pull through. It'll be too weak. So with my invention, the infinite overrun control, no matter what speed I run at, I've got the same full power. You wanted to say something, Rob?
No.
You look like you want to say something.
I'm listening intently.
What about butterfat content? What levels do you offer?
So today we're using a 10% or 10% vanilla ice cream. We go up as high as 16%. So it's
in what increments?
In what increments? So you have 10% vanilla, 10% chocolate, and then you have 14%, which is a white base. We don't add any vanilla flavor to it whatsoever. And then we also have a 14% chocolate. And then we have a 16% white base, no vanilla flavor added. And those are our offerings for ice cream mix. And then we have reduced fat as well, but I won't touch too much on that because
when it's coming out.
You don't use reduced fat in Emery Thompson.
Yeah, that's good.
So with ice cream mix, you don't have to add sugar like you do with chocolate.
Oh no, it's in there. It's ready to go.
Yeah, we use a non-GMO cane sugar to sweeten it.
And can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
What's the reason why you don't add vanilla to anything over 10%?
I would I'd much rather present it to a customer as a blank canvas. That's kind of the analogy that I use, because it's really up to you. It's up to your creativity to use however much vanilla you want, whether you want to add any type of inclusions or variegates.
But in the 10% you do.
Because the 10% we also use for soft serve as well.
Which makes sense, Jeff, because I learned from you, if I was doing this batch, I might put in 2 ounces of vanilla. Your personal taste is, let's see, what do you have, 3.5 quarts?
3.5.
You're going to put 3.5 ounces of vanilla, and you use much more vanilla than I do. And so if they put it in, it's going to be enough to call it vanilla ice cream. When you put it in, it's going to be enough to call it fantastic vanilla ice cream. So it is a personal taste. Also, don't tell anyone, but a dairy is a dairy. They deal with cows. They're not going to buy $500 vanilla like Jeff does, or that I do. They're going to buy something of a lesser quality vanilla. So even with a mix that has some vanilla in it, I add more, because I feel that as an ice cream maker, which I only do part-time, my job is to let you know exactly what the flavor is. I use the example, if I hand you a pale pink ice cream and you say, oh, that's delicious, what is it? I've failed, because you don't know that it's red raspberry as opposed to strawberry. I didn't put enough flavor in. So I'd love to tell you that it's the machine or the mix, but the real key to ice cream is the flavoring. You put great flavors in, you're going to get great ice cream. Just like baking, you use high quality ingredients, you're going to have a great pie. Whoops. Guess what I did? I wasn't paying attention. I froze her up.
What?
I did. See, anything can go wrong when you're running a video. I just froze my own machine up because I wasn't paying attention. I was talking. I was talking to a customer. I was talking on the phone, and I didn't set a timer. I should have set this timer for, say, 6 minutes. So now we have a frozen up machine. So we're going to wait a few minutes, and it's going to unthaw. And while I'm doing that, red-faced and embarrassed over freezing up my machine, you can go on to the next flavor.
So what actually happens when it freezes up?
Revenge is a sweet
But it
mistress.
doesn't signal you. How do you know?
Because the screen went to 0, and I heard the dasher not spinning.
Right.
So
the intuition of using.
what I tell my customers at this point, I chastise them that that was really awful that you weren't paying attention. You weren't supposed to be doing something else, like talking to a bunch of people.
But let me add that the good point is the machine doesn't ruin itself. It cuts off. The
Yeah.
beater will
Well, what
stop.
cuts off
The spinning.
The spinning.
But the refrigeration keeps going.
Yeah,
Well, he knocked it off, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw that.
so what I should do is take it all out now and start over. I've got a complete 6+ quarts of ice cream in there ready to go. I could scoop it out and put it in the machine, into the freezer, and I'm good to go. For expediency, I'm going to do what you should never do. I'm going to let it melt for a few minutes, then I'm going to turn it back on so we can get the ice cream out. Yeah,
It only took like 5 minutes for it to freeze.
that's all. It's a very fast machine. I'm going to take a break from what you're doing real quick and just pull this out. As this ice cream comes out, I'm going to throw in some cookies. I can turn it off. So you got to work fast in this business.
Don't worry about the floor. They'll get it.
I don't worry about the floor. Could I have a spatula, though? Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
Can we serve this to him? Do you have time?
Do your thing.
All right. If you all want to, Rob, right over there are bowls and
We got him. We got him.
You got them.
We got 'em.
Okay. How about everybody come up and try this? Got it.
I got it. Do we do a serving?
What's that? Scoopers. No, scoopers.
Yeah, it's not very.
There's another one in there.
I gotta close this.
No, we don't. Don't worry about it. Be selfish and be happy.
Eat all you want. We'll make more.
You got it. You're welcome.
Here, you can do this while I check my ice cream.
Yep, here, grab a spoon,
scoops
please. 2 scoops each, right? Got it, check.
How are we doing?
You guys already have them, sorry. It's a little bit.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I have it more.
Okay.
So out of this 6-quart machine, this tub here is 6 quarts. Plus we got this. So we made a lot of ice cream. But I put a lot of ingredients in.
Someone has to eat
Oh,
it.
that is good. Oh.
Thank you.